Good afternoon. My name is Justin Crozier. I am the owner and proprietor of Crozier Law, LLC. I am a criminal defense attorney in Kansas City, and I wanted to talk with you a little bit today about DWI expungement. And actually, just so you know, I am at work today at the office instead of videoing from home, so I apologize. I don't have as good of sound equipment here as I've got back at my house, so I apologize if the sound is not as good as some of my other videos have been. I'll see if I can get that fixed in the future. So if I'm going to be videotaping here, then it's not going to, sound bad or whatever. Anyway, what I wanted to talk with you about was expungement. And specifically, I wanted to talk about DWI expungement. In Missouri, you are allowed to expunge certain crimes. There's a list of crimes that you can expunge, or really a list of crimes that you can't expunge, realistically. Included in that are certain alcohol-related crimes, either for driving or for boating. But first-time DWI, second-time DWI, those are things that you can get expunged. There's a process that you have to go through, and it's technical, but as long as it has been a long enough time period, and the time period, if it's a misdemeanor DWI, which that would be a first-time DWI, then it's a misdemeanor. It's a Class B misdemeanor. And so we, just a second. Thank you very much. So a DWI misdemeanor, Class B misdemeanor, is something that you can get expunged. As long as you haven't had another one since you got the first one, you can get that other one expunged. You've got to wait for 3 years or 7 years, depending on if it's misdemeanor or felony, and then you apply to the court that you got the charge in. And once you have once the court has it, then they get the opportunity to decide if you can get an expunged or not. If it is expunged, then off your record. All done. Nothing that you have to worry about anymore. It's not going to be there. Now, if you hire an attorney on your first DWI, there's a good chance that it may not be on your record anyway. The first one, oftentimes you're going to be able to, if you successfully complete probation, or there's a handful of other things that you can do. As long as you get it dealt with correctly, you may not actually have it on your record at all. But if you didn't hire an attorney and you just kind of pled to the charge, and now you've got this thing hanging over your head that's killing your insurance, it's making it so you have to get SR22 insurance, or it's making it so that maybe you lost your driving privileges for a while or whatever. Maybe you want to be a CDL driver and you can't get it because you've got a DWI in your background. Well, we can expunge it. We can get rid of it. You are allowed to, in Missouri, you're allowed to expunge up to 2 misdemeanors, and you can expunge 1 felony. And that's it. That's the limit. So if you've gotten, it's kind of a topic for another day, I suppose, but other crimes can be expunged. Even felonies. Felonies can be expunged. Now, not if they're a Class A felony. Those ones, they stay there. If you murder a dude, you're pretty well saddled with having murder on your record forever. So, bit of advice: try not to murder anybody. If you can help yourself. Anything else though, like say that you got when you're 18, 19, something like that, you got a felony for possession. For possession of like cocaine, or possession for meth or LSD or something like that, non-marijuana charges, so it's a felony. And you've got nothing else, but you've got this drug charge that's on there, and it's really killing you because you're trying to apply to schools and you can't get student aid. We can expunge that. You accidentally pled guilty to it, you shouldn't have done what you did, and then you're saddled with it, but a couple years later, we can expunge that felony, and we can make it so that you're not going to be, killed by that thing. Expungements in general in Missouri, they are limited. It's, there's limits to what you can get expunged. But it is something that's worth considering, especially if it's on your record and if it bothers you. If you don't like the fact that things are coming up on a criminal background check, if you don't like the fact that, I know a lot of people that when they're, first starting to date somebody, they go on CaseNet and they take a look and see if they've got a criminal background, which I guess makes sense. And if you don't want people to get the wrong impression of you for something that happened years and years and years ago that you're not involved with anymore, it makes sense to go and get an expungement and to get that off your record. Again, it's mostly a technical thing. You just have to file the right paperwork. Make sure that you get in front of a judge. Make sure that it gets approved. And it almost always happens, almost always works. So you don't have to fret too much about it. But if you get somebody and you get an attorney on there, we can usually work this thing out for you. Make sure that you're going to be taken care of, and it's a pretty low risk kind of a thing. It's not too expensive either. I mean, it depends on the specific charge that you're looking at. But if we're talking about a DWI, it's less expensive to expunge a DWI than it is to actually fight the DWI in the first place. And then partly that's because DWIs they're highly technical kinds of charges anyway. It takes a lot of work to make sure that you get those dealt with correctly early on. So if you've got any questions, reach out to me. I'd love to discuss anything that you need. You can typically reach me at the phone number on the Crozier Law website. If let me know what you got going on. I'm happy to talk with you about it. Again, Justin Crozier, thank you very much for listening. This is a little bit shorter than some of my other videos. I hope to hear